Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, the Superman show brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics. We're going to be talking about why we're a day later than usual. We're going to be talking about the DC Super Pets. League of Super Pets animated movie. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the comic books. We've got our monthly segments to do. So much to get through. And to let you know how you can get involved, let me introduce you to my co-host, a little sniffly, Michael Bailey. Hey,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, well, as I like to say, there's two seasons in Georgia, allergy and baseball. So that pretty much covers. There's a little overlap there too, but no one wants to hear about my sniffles, and I apologize in advance for that tonight. They want to hear about Superman because they're here to watch Superman Homepage Live on Tuesday. So again, switching things around a little bit, but there's a good reason for it. And if there isn't a whole lot on the docket, we usually take calls. So how do we do that? Well, it's really simple. You're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, search for Superman Homepage, and message us that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple of things. One, message us. Wait for us to get in touch with you. This whole apparatus is held together by spit and baling wire, and you calling in may screw that up. Also, if you are watching Superman Homepage Live with an external speaker, please mute that if we do put you on, because we are on a bit of a delay and that can screw things up.
Yes, indeed. And for those who are tuning in live via YouTube tonight, we invite you to join in the comments and the chat there. Everyone's commenting. There's Justin, there's Mark, there's a couple of others in there ready to go to have a chat with you and discuss things as we go along. And Michael and I will keep an eye on those as the show goes on and react to them as necessary. But if you'd like your comment or question featured live on the screen during the show, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there on the bottom of your screen. A slider will appear. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we'll feature your comment or question on the screen as the show goes to air. And as I mentioned, yes, we are on a Tuesday night if you're in the US, Wednesday afternoon if you're in Australia like me and Justin and a couple of the others. The reason for that was yesterday I was invited to participate in the filming of a TV commercial. My sister Carol, who some of you may know, works for what was formerly known as Weight Watchers, now just called WW. And she was the star of a TV commercial that'll be airing later this year and maybe early next year. And they wanted some family and friends with her to sit around this restaurant table. So myself, my wife, and my brother-in-law, Carol's husband, Ray, were all part of this film shoot that took 7.5 hours for a 30-second commercial. So we were indisposed for most of the afternoon. So that's why I couldn't be here yesterday to do that.
Yeah, you are destined to always be in the background of these things. You were in that for the Superman Returns. You're in this commercial. I guess that's your kind of lot in life.
Yeah,
outside
and
of this arena.
Even in this show, I've played second fiddle to you, so it's just.
I doubt that seriously. So.
No, we're on even footing. It's a lot of fun doing those kinds of things, but it does take a lot of time, and it is kind of tedious. But that's the nature of the business. But let's get into tonight's show, and I appreciate everybody turning up for a Tuesday night or a Wednesday afternoon show. So. As far as the commercial is concerned, if it is online and when it is released, I will let you know and I will post it. Even play it here if you're really keen to see if I'm featured. I'll probably end up on the cutting room floor, but that's the way things go. But I'll let you know when it's available to see if you want to check it out. But let's get into this week's show. It is a day later than usual, so that means our next next time we do this will be available in 6 days' time. So not long at all. We will be, very soon back on your screens. But let's just get into tonight's show, where last week when we did do just after our show, the official trailer for the DC League of Super Pets animated movie was released online. Let's check that out now. I won't play it in full because we'll probably get stopped for copyright reasons. But here is the best part of it's with Superman in the very beginning. So check this out.
Wake up, buddy. It is walk o'clock. Maybe I should let him sleep. Okay. Jump around! Jump up and get down! Jump! Everybody jump!
And I'm up. Okay, Crypto. We'll go for a walk.
I have an owner, and he's Superman.
Let me just iron that out. They should call me Iron Man. No. My dog's the best, but he's not the greatest with other animals.
What is new with you, fellow normal dog?
I bit the FedEx guy the other day.
Who was he working for? General Zod? The Legion of Doom?
FedEx.
Of course, the Federation of X's. Not to be...
There you have it. Crypto having a chat there with one of his fellow dogs. I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know about you.
I loved all of the stuff with Superman and Crypto at the beginning. I'm a little disappointed that it's not Ace, like Ace the Bat Hound,
yeah.
and like Streaky and, the other super pets. A friend of mine said it looked like The Secret Life of Pets, but with DC characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of fair. But all the stuff with Crypto and Superman at the beginning was great. And I really like that Crypto's the one taking the lead on this.
Mm-hmm.
Given that Batman is so omnipresent and DC seems to play favorites, maybe. That to have Crypto take the lead and to like kind of showing not only Superman but Clark Kent is kind of neat, even though they're not going to be like a huge part. He's not going to be a huge part of it.
Mm. Yeah, but the rest of the Justice League also gets a showing, and some of them have interesting new looks. Even Superman's costume is a little bit different to what we've seen before. But yeah, I love the relationship the two have. I like the little gag there with Clark ironing out his clothes with his heat vision. He says, they should call me Iron Man. And then he has a giggle. That's quite funny. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I love that, yeah, like you, that Crypto is taking the lead on this and that Ace isn't the Bat Hound. Kind of, I understand the disappointment. We don't have Streaky and we don't have, Ace the Bat Hound and the regular DC character of Super Pets. But the fact that it isn't Ace the Bat Hound means that Superman's pal Crypto gets to be the lead in this, and it's not he's not overshadowed by Batman having a dog and all that kind of stuff. So obviously these pets are from a pet store. Something happens and they all get superpowers, and then they have to go save the world because the Justice League is indisposed. So looking forward to seeing how this goes. We do have a request, Michael. It's coming up on your screen now. Venkman wanting to know how Bibbo's Thanksgiving was.
Exhausting. Bibbo had to help the wife, and it was a long day of cooking. But let me tell you, that wife of Bibbo, she can really cook. She no soda, because we had tea, but everything was great. It was the turkey and the dressing and. Really, no, seriously, my wife made the best macaroni and cheese of her life. My God, it was good. It was a really nice Thanksgiving. But I really appreciate Venkman coming out and wanting to hear from the Bibbo. So,
very cool.
Speaking of comments, Michael Ballack wanted to know what my poster behind me said. It said, Superman is back.
Yep.
And this is one of the promo posters that was released around the time of Superman number 82. So I've got a whole death and return theme going on right now, but that's the one that's behind me.
Nice. Very cool. Getting back to the DC League of Super Pets, John's asking, when does Batman or the Flash have pets? Batman in the comics and the other series has had a pet, as we talked about, Ace the Bat Hound. The Flash, to my knowledge, has never had a pet that's become a superhero that I'm aware of. The Turtle in this animated movie does seem to have Flash-like powers, in that, ironically, a slow turtle becomes a speedster, and then the squirrel has electrical powers, zapping powers, a bit like Livewire, and Ace the Bat Hound seems to be invulnerable. or not the Bat Hound, just Ace, the Hound, seems to have invulnerability, and the Pig seems to be able to become like, what's his name in the boy? What boy is it in the Legion of Superheroes?
Colossal Boy.
Colossal Boy, that's it. So yeah, they have a mismatch type of arrangement of powers. Obviously, Krypto has all of Superman's powers, being a Kryptonian dog.
I am a little not upset, a little disappointed because Chip is the name of the squirrel with the lightning powers, but that's also the name of a Green Lantern who was killed in 1992. But I will love this character for the rest of my life because when they redesigned everything after the Crisis, they revealed Chip's homeworld where he had his friend. Not kidding. Friend's name is Dale. And he was dressed like a Disney character. He had the white like Mickey Mouse gloves on and like overalls, and it was just one of my favorites. I love Chip. No,
So it could be a chipmunk, not a squirrel in this. Or maybe I'm getting it wrong.
it's probably God knows what it is. I'm surprised it's not a hamster since they were like at a shelter or something like that. But yeah, I was kind of amused that they were just throwing Ace in front of the line of fire. I could have done with the extended P joke, though.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
So it will be released May next year. So we're looking forward to the new animated movie coming out with Dwayne Johnson voicing the role of Krypto, Kevin Hart as the voice of Ace, and they'll be joined by Natasha Lyonne as Merton the Turtle, Vanessa Bayer as PB the Pig, and Diego Luna as Chip the Squirrel. So he's a squirrel. And obviously we have, what's his name, that voicing Superman?
Dwayne Johnson?
No, that's Krypto.
Krasinski? Not Zachary Levi.
No.
John Krasinski, I believe.
Yes, that's it.
Like something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's so bad. But the producer of this animated movie, Hiram Garcia, spoke with CBR.com and discussed this animated movie, and interestingly said that this film will be fun for everyone. The whole family will enjoy this. It's a charming story. He says, you're in for a really fun ride. It's one of those movies that I think the whole family is going to be able to enjoy. Kids are going to really love it, but there's a lot of humor in there for adults, and especially fans of superhero movies, that I think everyone's going to walk away having a really good time having seen it.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear.
So May 20th, 2022, about 6 months away, we'll be sitting in the theatre, hopefully, with Omicron notwithstanding, giving us a chance to sit in the theatre watching this animated film with crowds so everyone can laugh and cheer and do all those things that were always fun when you're watching a superhero film. Hopefully. But we'll get away from that. No COVID talk here tonight. No. All right. This one was the big news of the week and blew up the internet as far as Superman fans were concerned. On Black Friday, Zavi.com were doing their DC Day, and as part of their DC specials on Black Friday, they unveiled this amazing 2-pack for Superman and Lois Lane pop vinyl Funko figures. Obviously taking from Superman the movie, the flight, where after the interview, they go for the night flight, and Lois and Superman flying side by side with that tenuous grip that Superman has on her fingers.
Yeah, she's not going to drop though, because they're on little poles. So no, it's adorable. I think it's not exactly what Mario Gitter was wearing, but I'm only saying that because this is YouTube and we're supposed to complain about something. We'll have that as like the log line of it. Here, the terrible thing Mike said about the Superman and Lois Funko Pop, and then I'll just draw people here. No, it's great. I love it. I love that it's got the silver S from the Superman movie on the packaging. It's a cute little 2-pack, and I haven't disliked any of the pop vinyl things,
Mm.
the Funko Pops that they've done of Superman.
Now, have heard some complaints, people saying that Lois is on the wrong side, that she's supposed to be on his right. But there, at one point, they do swap over, if I'm not incorrect. She is wearing the watch and the
Really?
pearls. But you mentioned the poles before. Superman's one is in a very awkward position.
Not as awkward. Do you remember that Jim Lee Hush Superman figure?
Yes,
Where it
yes.
looked like the pole
It was right up his
up a
clacker.
very uncomfortable place, and yeah, so it's not that bad.
No, not at all. It could be worse. Or Superman. Could be Lois's problem too, but we won't go there.
Oh,
But
dear.
this is available. It's probably going to be selling out really quick, so it will be released, I believe, in early 2022. But pre-orders are available now, so make sure you get to our website to ensure that you click on the link and purchase this Superman and Lois flying Funko Pop vinyl 2-pack, and just head to supermanhomepage.com.
Justin wants a Superman squeezing Zod's hand a 2-pack of Funko Pop. That would be interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably buy it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Don't give them any ideas. They'll be coming out with Funkos of every thing every scene from any movie you can ever imagine. So, but this one is a good one. It's a really cool one, and it's exclusive to Zavi. So, and speaking of Superman the movie, just before we came on air, I saw that this Pickwick Theatre in Park Ridge, Illinois, will be hosting 2 screenings of Superman the movie on December 15th, the matinee at 1 p.m., and then the 7 p.m. screening later in the evening. And the 7 p.m. screening will have prelude music by Jay Warren at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are only $12 on the day, or if you do advanced tickets purchase, you'll be able to get them for $10. The $1 p.m. matinee is $10 regardless, and you can see a trailer that was put together by A Deal of Steel, someone we've featured on this show a couple of times, put together a trailer for this Pickwick Theatre screening of Superman the movie, December 15th. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you're interested in the area, in the Park Ridge, Illinois area, and you want to see Superman the movie on the big screen, get to our website and you can purchase your tickets through the link there. All right, moving on to you know what? It is the last show of the month, depending on where you are, because here it's already December. But it's our time to do our monthly segments, the big question and the super secret soundbite. Let's start, as Lois says, with the big question.
Let's start with the big question.
All right, Michael, what was our big question from last month?
The big question was, how do you feel about DC updating Superman's motto to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow? And Stephen Marshall wrote, I'm a Brit, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with the American way. Didn't the American way stand for a better tomorrow anyway? I think the change is probably more of a business decision due to certain political perceptions. Maybe what the American way appears to represent today isn't what people believed years ago. I would have preferred the American way to remain and think they could have used this as an opportunity for some re-education of the meaning rather than throwing it out.
That's a good point. Well done. Well thought out, Stephen. So thank you very much for your response. Ron Crosby also wrote in. He says, I really don't care either way. It sounds cool to me. That being said, I do think they handled it in a way that was meant to drum up a sort of drama. They could have just had Superman say it, but to have Jim Lee make an announcement that this was the updated motto, I don't know, it feels too staged. Not the word I'm looking for maybe, but coming off John Kent's sexuality, it feels odd to me. Ultimately, change is important, but no need to rub it in for those that want change, I guess. He makes a good point. I guess this was drummed up for publicity.
Yeah, but everything they do is drummed up for publicity.
Exactly.
And, if it feels staged, I mean, everything about fandom is staged.
Yeah.
So, you have that. I mean, both of them have brought up, points of, you know, is it necessary, and Ron just wrote that, no need to rub it in for those that don't or want change, I guess. But by making the announcement, that's not rubbing it in. I think the rubbing it in was the fan reaction afterwards and the arguing that happened on social media. So could be wrong. Just a theory. JP Rocha wrote, not a big deal. It's just another on a list of Superman's mottos, past and present. Biggest point is writers can and do use old mottos. I'm sure Truth, Justice, the American Way will be used in future media.
Yep, well said. Thank you, JP. Also, Eddie Chianti wrote in saying, I will miss Truth, Justice, and the American Way, but he belongs to the whole planet, not just America. Even Lois herself said it in one of the movies. Superman says, you're not selfish at all, and she says to him, I am selfish when it comes to you. I'm selfish and I'm jealous of the whole world. There's your proof right there. Thank you, Eddie. Nice pointing out a quote from a movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes a good point. I mean, Superman does belong to the world. I understood the idea and the concept of the American way. But obviously, not being American, I don't have such a hold on to the American way as maybe Americans do. But I like the hope for a better tomorrow, because I think that's what the American way, as somebody else earlier said, pretty much stands for.
It's interesting because having been raised, especially being raised in the 80s as I was, where there was this kind of renewed sense of patriotism in the country. The 70s were over, Watergate was in the past, Ronald Reagan was president, and some people consider him to be a superhero, which boggles my mind. But it was really since getting involved in podcasting and being on the internet and the fact that I do a show every week with somebody from another country, that the boundaries of the world are now kind of more opened up to me. And I'm seeing things that I was taught growing up kind of not being true, to one extent or another. So on a personal level, him moving away from it isn't like a big deal to me, because I'm on a personal level moving away from it. So it's really weird. You said as somebody not in the United States, I am somebody in the United States, and it's just like back in 10 years ago when Action 900 came out, and there was that whole hubbub about him renouncing his citizenship, which lasted 5 minutes, I think. I really, DC backtracked really quick. It doesn't matter, because Superman does kind of belong to everybody. And to pin him down to the American way just seems kind of faulty at this point. But maybe I could be wrong on that.
That's the beauty of this thing. It's all about opinion. That's what the big question's all about.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where people having a difference of opinion doesn't come down to one person believing another person doesn't exist. So it's okay to argue about this kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's a fictional character, and there are more important things to really argue about. But people like watching sports, and ultimately that doesn't matter either. Or did I just offend you and your?
You're right. At the end of the day, it's just a game. But but people, like you said, it's their be all and end all, and it's what they hang their hats on. And if that's what floats your boat, go for it. But at the end of the day, you don't want to lose friendships over something like this.
John Patrick Van Pelt wrote, I'm not a fan of updating Superman's motto to Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow, but if for a good reason moving forward, I'm all right, even though growing up I always liked Superman's motto of Truth, Justice, and the American Way, and will always have a place in my heart as the good old days now.
Yeah, and in the comments, Justin said, what if yesterday was better than tomorrow? It's an interesting one, because... sometimes people think that yesterday was better than tomorrow, but you don't know. It's the hope for a better tomorrow.
There's a danger in that.
Yeah.
In all honesty, you know, when people talk about like the good old days of American history, it is ignoring seriously problematic events,
Mm-hmm.
especially that happened in certain places in the country. So yeah, for certain people, the 50s and 60s were a great time, and for other people, it was an absolute horror show. So again, like you were saying, it really depends on your perception at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Looking through it through rose-colored glasses as well. I think actually DC Legends of Tomorrow is doing a really good couple of episodes at the moment where they've gone back to the 50s or actually 40s, I think it might be, and they're doing like the war time and really highlighting how marginalized sectors of society were so poorly treated, and even during the war time when women were stepping up to help build aeroplanes and that, they were still treated subpar compared to men. And even though they were stepping up and doing what needed to be done, they weren't still treated, as they should. But anyway, we're not going to get into political history
Yeah,
here. We could be
you
going
will
down a deep
get me
dark hole.
talking, and I will get us in trouble.
Yes.
So we probably best to read Ryan's quote.
Let's
there.
move on.
Steve.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote in, and he said, traditionally I've defended the use of the American way and personally do not have a problem with it, seeing such patriotism as no different than that of James Bond towards crown and country. However, Superman is a global figure, and so I do see how the phrase could be problematic for fans from other countries. And since Superman is the man of tomorrow, it makes sense that he would fight for a better tomorrow, which I think is a much better phrase than the Terran way of the 1970s. You know what?
Yeah.
I think that was a good one to finish on. Ryan makes some really good points there, and I think is a very, kind of middle ground of the road with his point of view.
Yeah, and he's dead right that Terran way thing, which
Was terrible.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Like,
Well,
I'm sure it looked great on print, but once you say it, it does not we could argue about truth, justice, and the American way, but you say that with a deep voice and dramatically with like music behind you, it sounds great. You say the Terran way, you're gonna have most people going, Terran?
What's Terran?
What does Karen have to do with this? I thought Karens were bad.
Mark in the comments is saying, did the American way come from the radio show or TV show? It was used later in the radio show when they got into the war era. It was just originally Truth and Justice, and then the American way was added when they got into the war era years of the radio show, and then it was most famously used and remembered through the George Reeves opening of the Adventures of Superman TV series.
Yeah, and it's the thing that I think a lot of people don't really consider when they think about the phrase is that it was put in there. Remember, comics aren't political, but it was put in both times for both decades for purely political purposes. I mean, it was there. It was, the war was on, and we were trying to, being champion of the weak and the oppressed, which is what he was in the really early days of the radio show. Just wasn't strong enough. And then in the 50s, we needed to show the godless commies that we could beat them. So, it's why Under God was put into the Pledge of Allegiance. So.
Yep. All right. Well, that was the big question for last month. Thank you, everyone, for your responses and some really well thought out ones at that. Our new big question for this next month is, what comic book story do you think Warner Brothers should adapt for either a live action or animated movie? It's a big one. Lots of Kingdom Come responses I see coming for sure.
I was about to say, and why is it Kingdom Come?
So get involved in the big questions segment of our show. Head to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the big question feedback form. And we'll read out the responses when we receive them and get back to this segment at the end of December. All right, let's move. Yes.
To answer Mark's question really quick, I know one of the big places the Terran way was used was in the Superman Spider-Man first Treasury edition.
Okay.
So.
Very cool.
To answer that.
Yeah, let's get into the super secret soundbite.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, the super secret soundbite from last month was this sound right here. I'm going to play it for you. Check it out.
I'll get this one, friends. Stopping trains is my specialty.
There you have it. Who correctly guessed where that sound came from, Michael?
Oh, well, that was J.P. Rocha and Eddie Chianti.
Yep, and the sound came from the Super Friends cartoons. Actually, the very first one, Season 1, Episode 1, The Power Pirate. And congratulations to both JP and Eddie for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. Let's hear the new super secret soundbite right now.
Mr. Clark! I mean Kent! Mr. Kent!
So there you have it. That's the sound for this next month. Do you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? If you think you do, head to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Send in your responses and we will read out the names of each person who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of December. All right, that was the 2 monthly segments. Let's take a break, play some messages, then come back on the flip side to do the fan favorite segment of the show and This Week in History. We'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
I'm freezing! Superman!
Uh-oh, sounds like Lisa and Scott are trapped in the icy cave of that frosty-faced villain, Captain Cold. This is a job for Superman.
My fast freeze zapper will freeze Superman forever.
No way, Captain. Here, kids, my new Superman Hot Cocoa Mix is the super tasting way to warm up.
It's really sweet. And chocolatey.
And see, Captain Cold can't take this warm reception. New Superman Hot Cocoa, the super tasting way to warm up.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where John has asked the question about when our last show for December will be. It won't be December 13th, it will be December 20th, which will be the Monday before the Christmas week. So we will be doing our last show for the year on December 20th, US time, December 21st if you're in Australia. So yeah, thank you for
it's our usual like 2 weeks, 2 week holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
At the
We'll
end of the year.
take the Christmas week and the New Year week off and then come back in sometime in early January. All right, let's get into the fan favourite segment of our show. All right, the fan favourite question from last week was, what is your favourite version of Bizarro? We had a couple of responses. Who did we have first up?
Stephen Marshall wrote, my favorite, and he used a U, which my American eyes look at and go, that's odd, but it's not. My favorite version of Bizarro is one from Superboy, portrayed brilliantly by Barry Myers, who totally nailed the look from the comics, and he was a character I found myself sympathizing with. I also liked that he wasn't necessarily stupid. It was more that he had certain deficiencies, such as his hearing being defective, which is why he mistook the word bizarre for Bizarro.
Well, there you have it. So thank you to Stephen. Next up, we had the John Patrick Van Pelt wrote in saying he's got two favourite versions of Bizarro. One is from Superman the Animated Series, and the other is from Smallville Season 7, when Clark Kent was trapped in the Fortress of Solitude, in which Lana thought he was the real Clark Kent.
It's funny. I can't choose between the animated series and the Superboy series. I thought both were really good representations of the character. I mean, there's always going to be a part of me that's going to like the one from Super Friends, just because it's just so. Yeah, it was the first time I remember seeing the character. But I have a real affection too for the Tales of the Bizarro World stories from like the Silver Age.
Yeah.
Some crazy stuff in there. One of my favorite, Bizarro sees like monster movies, so he comes to Earth to kind of like take on the monsters, and it was just beautifully silly in every way possible.
And we're getting some good responses from the comments. Mind the Gap saying that Bizarro on Superman the Animated Series was his most hated, which obviously means his favorite. So nicely done there. Yeah, I like the Superman Animated Series version as well. I thought that was a really sympathetic version of the character who was misunderstood, and always having Lex behind that was a great way of the character's sympathetic nature to be brought forward. But yeah, it was a really well done version of the character, especially the way he originally started as being pretty normal version of Superman, and then broke down as time went by.
I have a problem when people treat him like when Jeff Johns brought him into Last Son, and he was breaking people's arms, and Jeff Johns even in like an Infinite Crisis where he beat the human bomb to death. I don't like him being a figure of horror. You can play him that way. It's a legitimate take on it. But to me, I think it's better for him to be just kind of like a goofy opposite for Superman. There was a story, one of the rare continued stories from the late 60s, where Superman died of this virus, and they launched him into space. And when he went by Bizarro World, they threw kryptonite at him. And since they threw all forms of kryptonite, they threw white kryptonite at him, which killed the Kryptonian virus that was in him, because white kryptonite affects plant life. So it's just like stuff like that is where I want Bizarro to be. I don't want Bizarro to show up and everyone to be like, scared of this. Like, he's not the Hulk. He's Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So our new fan favorite question moving forward for this week is, what was your favorite episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, the TV series? Get involved with the fan favorite segment of our show by sending an email with your answer to the email address rolling across the bottom of your screen right now, info@supermanhomepage.com, and we will read out the responses to your answers when we return to this segment next week. So get involved. What is your favorite episode of Lois and Clark?
Yep. And Michael Ballack says the square Bizarro Homeworld, which was a tree, which is Earth spelled backwards.
Of course it is. All right. Let's move on to the This Week in History segment. Here is your intro, Michael.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
We got some fun ones this time out. We kind of straddle the line of December and November in some of them. But starting in 1951, we have World's Finest Comics number 56. And I think the running gag has been that World's Finest covers from the 1940s and the 1950s, or from the 1950s, show Superman, Batman, and Robin completely and utterly wasting their natural talents for absolutely no reason. I don't know what they're doing. Are they like, I guess they're wrestling in some weird way?
And Superman's like waving his arm around up in the air to say, I give up.
Yeah, I think what's happening is Superman is throwing this so that Robin has a better chance with the two girls. And Batman standing in the background going, I am bored with all of this. Jumping ahead to 1961, we have Action Comics number 285, The Babe of Steel. I must convince them that I'm the adult Superman's in a child's body. I am not a child, Lieutenant. I'm Superman. See? And he breaks the table right in half. Great Kurt Swan cover on that one. And also that same month you have Adventure Comics number 292, The Laughing Stock of Smallville, where it looks like Lex Luthor has made everyone in Smallville laughing at Superboy. There's also a Bizarro story, oddly enough, called Bizarro Creates a Monster as a backup feature, which is kind of odd. I figured it would have been a Legion. Are we at the Legion yet? Yeah, we're at the Legion. Yep, so, jumping ahead to 1971, we have Action Comics number 408, where apparently Superman just does not want to help anybody. That's a story called The Hero Superman Doomed to Die. There's also another Superman story called The Shocking Secret of Super X, and an Atom backup called The Atom's Phantom Double. From that same month, in 1971, we have Adventure Comics number 414, where you have a Supergirl story where she is tied up on the cover, which is odd. Her story is called Vortex. There was a Zatanna story called The Tower of the Dead, Animal Man, The Return of the Man with the Animal Powers, and Supergirl in The Kidnapping. Going to 1981, we have an early Mongol appearance in DC Comics Presents number 43, which has a great Brian Bolland cover. He did a lot of the early Mongol type covers for that. And we also had what a friend of mine considers the greatest piece of literature in Western civilization, Justice League of America number 200. Wow. If you have never read this book, and it is on, I believe it's on available digitally through both the app and through Comixology, read it. It's a murderer's row of artists. You have George Perez, Pat Broderick, Carmine Infantino, Jim Aparo, Dick Giordano, Gil Kane, Brian Bolland, Joe Kubert. I mean, it's just this great celebration of the Justice League and their 200th issue. And Superman is apparently tired of Hawkman on that cover, I'm assuming. Jumping ahead to 1991, we have Action Comics number 673, where we get the first, I believe, maybe appearance, but definitely first post-crisis appearance of the Helgramite, which is a character that not a lot of people probably recognize. That was a fun story. It's still when Bob McLeod was drawing the title, despite the fact that the cover is by Dan Jurgens. And this is a historic one. In 2001, Action Comics number 785. Again, it's like we planned it. Bizarro is on the cover. This is the final Triangle issue of the run.
Wow.
Of the original Never-Ending Battle Triangle era, whatever you want to call it. This is the final one with that number 4 up in the corner. Yeah, I remember when this happened in 2001, 2002. I had no idea how I was going to file my comics. And it's so quaint that was a problem for me at one point.
Yep. I remember feeling the same.
Like, well, where do I put everything? We also have Superman and Batman Generations 2, number 4, which finished up that series. If you want to read, if you've got like a couple hours and need some help falling asleep tonight, you can go read my review of that I wrote 20 years ago. God, they were long. What was wrong with me? I was just starting out. But that is the comics. In the real world, November 28th is the birthday of writer-artist Jerry Ordway. Jerry, the extraordinary Ordway, was born in 1957. On November 29th, which is traditionally recognized as the birthday of Jimmy Olsen. I think I wrote December, but those are Did you switch over to December already?
I
For
did
the
on
homepage?
the calendar. Yeah, I sent you an email letting you know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I screwed that up. And on November 30th, writer and artist Keith Giffen was born in 1952. So thank you for correcting me on that
All
because
good. Have you
I was
back.
all turned around on that. So,
Yeah.
but that is this week in history.
Very cool. Thank you very much for that, Michael. That was an interesting look back, and yeah, as you said, with all those Bizarro mentions, it was like we planned it, but it just coincided with the Bizarro talk that we had earlier on. Mind the Gap asking, are you doing a podcast on generations, Michael?
As a matter of fact, oddly enough that you ask that, I'm about to edit together. Andy Leyland and I on our show, The Overlooked Dark Knight, cover the first 2 series over 4 episodes. So I will be editing those within the next week or so, and I'm going to be releasing all 4 months. So yeah, there will be Generations talk. Spoilers: diminishing returns comes up a lot.
Okay. Got a question from Mark asking where the Generations review can be found. I am looking that up for you right now. I'll post a link in the comments. I found the link to number 3, so I will. Here we go. Posting a link to Superman Batman Generations number. Well, I'll post this link, and then you can use that to go back and look through and find the rest. But there you have it. All right, looking at comic books, here is what fans can look forward to this week. If you're reading comic books, they're out now because we're a day later than we usually are. And as of the week starting November 30th, here is what you can read if you're a Superman fan. We've got the big one, Action Comics 1037, which is available in another variant cover right there, which is making up the background of my green screen tonight. And Mongol appears again. We just spoke about Mongol. You had a very early appearance of Mongol. There he was on that cover for Action Comics 1037. Also, the first issue of the new 5-issue miniseries, Justice League Incarnate, is available in not 1, but 2 variant covers. You got the Batman one there, and there's another one. I'm not sure who that character is from the Legion of Superheroes. I'm guessing, maybe.
That looks like somebody from the Legion. Yeah, I don't know what their new costumes are. So
yeah. Also out this month already is the hardcover of Superman and the Authority, and also out this week is the trade paperback of Truth and Justice, which was a miniseries that ran for a little bit, and there were a couple of issues there that were focused on Superman. So that trade paperback is also out now as we speak. All right, speaking of the Justice League Incarnate, DC released a Beyond the Panels video today with writer Joshua Williamson sharing a bit of a behind the panels look at this new mini-series. Here is a bit of that video in which Joshua talks about the fact that this kind of continues on from his stories of, I think it's Infinite Frontier. Yeah, so here is a bit of Joshua talking about that.
Just the Incarnate, this miniseries we're doing is 5 issues, but it is the second act of the Infinite Frontier saga that we're building. It's a trilogy. It started with Infinite Frontier 0, following Death Metal. So we had the Infinite Frontier mini. Then we have the Justice League Incarnate. It's sort of the second act, but it also kind of spreads out across the DCU, and you get to see there are like little things happening in the DCU that all kind of connect and tie together. By the time we get to the third act in 2022, you'll see how it all really just comes together.
There you have it. That's just a bit of Joshua Williamson talking about Justice League Incarnate and where it leads in from. That cover that I showed you before of that Justice League Incarnate variant, thanks to people, JP, in the comments saying it's Dr. Multiverse, a unique version of a unique character, and the only one in all of the multiverse. So Dr. Multiverse. That's who she
Dr.
was.
Multiverse.
There you have it. We do have time to take a caller, and Mark Lax is happy to come on and chat with us to talk about pretty much everything that's going on in the world of Superman. Just bringing Mark on right now, calling him, getting him on to chat with us. Let's adding him into the call right now, and let's see what Mark has to say this week. Just waiting for him to answer.
Pick up the phone.
There he is. Hello, Mark.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well, and yourself?
Oh, not too bad.
That's good. What's on your mind this week?
Well, there was a couple of things. I mean, I know you discussed, I think, last week or whatever, but the thing with Superman looking older and why he looked younger, I didn't quite buy the explanation for that, but because I'm trying to figure out the authority book, tying into the main books, how that worked. But of course now I guess it's not really. I read the issue today and I enjoyed it. So I guess it's really kind of a moot point at this point. But anyway.
No, I understand some people's complaint or some concerns with the explanation given, that it was Manchester Black and, the kind of the I guess like a mirage of what Superman's looking like, so that people don't get disheartened by the fact that he has become weakened since his involvement with John, looking at that rift that appeared that Amanda Waller had opened up. But I guess it kind of is their explanation to allow us to kind of join the stories together and be able to, fit that into a timeline.
Right. Now, I kind of get it now. I just, I thought it'd be a little better.
I can understand that.
I wanted to say a few things about Supergirl, the finale.
Yeah.
I liked it. Obviously I had problems with it. They seem to throw stuff in just to the Phantom Zone zoom, they open up the Phantom Zone and then the villains go after Nixley and Lex and that's it. I mean, not to say the fight wasn't an epic fight, but it was just kind of like, really, that's it. And then suddenly Brainy has this crown or something, so she can get across through the world all her thoughts, and it's like, well, where was that, before? It's like it all kind of came down to okay, this is the last couple of episodes. Let's just, let's just throw it in there, get it over with, get it done, and then, go to the end. I mean, it was entertaining. I guess maybe they're nitpicks, but I mean, did we need to hear Alex and Kelly's vows for 6 minutes? I mean, I understand it's their wedding and all, but it's like they've said this before. I'm listening to the vows and I'm saying, well, we've heard this before, and I just thought, they could have spent more time. It's like little things like that. They could have spent more time on the end and the fight, and I'm just saying that and a couple other things they could have we didn't need. I mean, why was Mon-El there? Just to be Mon-El, just to be in the last episode. He was just there.
No, I get it.
The fight and then he's gone. It's like
there are a lot of nice, tidy bows that they kind of, were able to tie up, and not all of them made great story sense, but visually and probably for the sake of tying up a finale, it was what people wanted to see. Obviously, being Melissa's real life husband, getting him on was obviously important to her. But yeah, I understand your complaint with some of it. You're right. You just kind of had to go, let's just go along for the ride. It is what it is. I mean, it's they're trying to tie things up and get all the loose ends out of the way so that they can really do the final hour of the show, which, I think the penultimate episode had a lot of, and I think, Michael, you said it in your own review, had a lot more problems than the finale did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I could see that, but I mean, no, it was fine. I still forget if they established if Kara Danvers and Clark Kent were cousins, because I don't know if they said if they were cousins. Because if they did, Kara made a big mistake.
Yeah, well, that was my problem, and I said that to Michael in our
Yeah.
discussion about that. If I think they have in the past said that Clark and Kara are cousins, and then Superman and Supergirl are cousins. I'm pretty sure that's been established.
Well, we know Supergirl, but if you don't know that the two of them are cousins, you might not put Clark and Supergirl together. Do you know what I mean? If they say they weren't cousins, but if they are cousins, then
well, I'm pretty sure when she introduced Clark to the day, when he came from the Daily Planet to visit the first time around back a couple of seasons ago. I'm pretty sure she introduced him as a cousin.
Did she though? Because I kind of remember Kat going, Clark Kent.
Clark Kent, right? And that's what I'm saying. I don't know
think they
if
actually said cousin at any point.
Okay, yeah. Well, that could be the get out clause then.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I'm more okay with the ending, with her revealing her identity. But you know how I feel about these heroes revealing their identities. But no, but it was other than that, it was nice. They wrapped it up, and for 6 years it was an enjoyable show. I really I look forward to watching it, and but we got Superman and Lois coming back, so that I'm really looking forward to. So
exactly, we've got things to take its place. But really appreciate you calling in, Mark. It's always good to hear from you. Also, keep up the good work on the reviews you're doing for the Superman 78 comic book for us. You're doing a great job there.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Mark Lax. Always good to hear from him and get his viewpoints on things. All right, Justin in the comments reminded me, he just said that he's gone and voted on the Shield Awards. Make sure you, as a reminder, get to the Superman homepage website. The big banner across the top of the website there has the Shield Awards link there. And obviously you go into the draw to win this blanket throw, as well as the onesie there that you can put on, or whatever they call them. What do they call those things in the US? Wearable hoodie, throw, blanket. Not sure what they call them. But anyway, make sure you get into the Shield Awards, head to the website, click on the link, and you can go into the draw to win those two great prizes, as well as getting to vote on the 19 different categories to make sure you vote on the best of Superman in 2021. For some reason, Michael has frozen on me. Not sure what happened there. But I'll try to get Michael back quickly before we wrap up the show. And so he can say goodbye to us. Wrapping it up right now, getting Michael back on. Hopefully connects pretty quickly. And if not, make sure you do tune in. Next week we'll be back on our regular night of Monday, December 6th, for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We'll hope you'll join us then at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, make sure you check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, who sadly has disappeared from the other side of the screen, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Bye.